want your business to go to another level, you must try to learn and hear something new. So make the change today. So don't procrastinate and see your business grow and change. So check out Testing Results, yeah, with Toni Harris Taylor. Toni Harris Taylor. Testing Results, oh yeah, with Toni Harris Taylor. Yeah.
Welcome to the Marketing Strategies for Drastic Results show. My name is Toni Harris Taylor, and I'm the CEO and founder of Drastic Results Marketing and Sales Coaching, franchisee with Network in Action. And I'm excited to be here today. Today, I want to ask you a question. One of the best ways to grow your business is through referrals. The question is, are you referable? So today's guest was a referral to me from someone that he's known for many years. And she met me at a conference in Atlanta. Shout out to Marina. And she and I booked an appointment on the spot. We had an amazing conversation. She immediately signed up to be a coaching client. And in the same hour from getting off our first coaching call, apparently she and my guest, Keith Gerson, had a conversation. And she was so on fire about our coaching that she immediately introduced me to Keith. Now, let me say this. You got to be referable. So why did she trust me? Because I looked good on the surface. What I teach is something valuable. I think she was impressed with the way that, her registration and all my technology and all of that, because she's a technologist. And she just felt comfortable sharing me with Keith. Let me say this. Keith is probably one of the best connections I could have made in the franchise space. Y'all will meet him in a minute. But if I didn't have my act together, I never would have met him. Sometimes entrepreneurs, franchisees, you're not referable. Do you return phone calls? Are you sloppy with your work? Do you show up on time? Do you respond in a timely manner? Do you take accountability responsibility when you make a mistake? All those things lead to you being referable. I once had a client, and I would refer her people, and then she wouldn't respond. Now, as a connector, that's probably the biggest offense that someone can commit against someone who is actively trying to help you grow your business. And then I would get a message from the person I was trying to refer. She never responded. Well, it didn't take long for me to say, you get no more. Or if you're not getting referrals, I need you to take a look and see what your business practices are, and are you referable? In my Network in Action group, I have some people who don't show up consistently. It's a once a month group, once a month. If you don't show up and you don't send a substitute, then your fellow members don't trust that you're going to show up for their referrals. So one of the best marketing strategies you can have is active referrals. But if you're not getting the level of referrals that you want, check and see, are you referable? So we're going to come back. You're going to meet my new friend, my new client, Keith Gerson. He's got 50 years experience in the franchise space. I cannot wait for you to meet him. He is a really cool dude. And we're going to have some fun here today. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back with Keith Gerson.
Are you a franchisor grappling with how to stimulate your franchisees' growth and revenue? Are the phrases, "I'm not comfortable networking," "I'm an introvert"? Enter Toni Harris-Taylor, your answer to these challenges. With her expert guidance and program, you can empower your franchisees to conquer networking and community outreach. Toni's program is designed to equip your franchisees with the skills and confidence to show up to the right events with the right people. It goes beyond making connections. It's about nurturing and leveraging these relationships. It's about following up, collaborating, and generating leads and referrals to maximize conversions. And ultimately, increased revenue for your franchisees and for you, the franchisor. Are you ready to unlock this potential? Reach out to us at 832-479-2088. Let's embark on this journey of growth and success together.
All right, we are back with my friend Keith Gerson. Hey, Keith.
Hey there, Toni. Great to see you.
You too. So, in your own words, introduce yourself. Who are you? What do you do?
My name is Keith Gerson. For 50 years, I've been a franchisor and a supplier and a franchisee. What I do is I help franchisors find their success. That's how I find my success, only if they succeed. And I do that in many different ways, from operations, from franchise development, and from franchise relationships. I'm a data junkie as well. But I wake up every day and it's like, I don't want anyone thinking, is that 50 years of experience or just one time repeat, one year repeated 50 times. So it'll be just one.
So 50 years of franchising, you've seen a lot of change over the years in franchising. So what's been the biggest, if you go all the way back to and then today, what's the biggest change that you've seen over the years?
I don't want to be a contrarian, but I find that the more people think that it's all about, change, et cetera, the principles of franchising have remained ever present. And certainly there's, technology has entered into the equation. Artificial intelligence seems to be all that anyone ever wants to talk about anymore. But at the end of the day, we're not paid for what we do. We're paid for what others do. As a result of our coaching, our guidance, et cetera. So you can have all the best technologies and you can all have the latest data, et cetera. But at the end of the day, it's just about, if you're a bowler, knocking down those pins.
Yeah, I agree. It's about the systems, it's about the people, and that hasn't changed. And so what made you start Gerson Advisory Services, which we affectionately call GAS? Step on the gas, accelerate your franchise. We are playing with all the analogies around gas. But what made you start your business?
Adult children of mine have always asked me, what are you waiting for? You're working, you're making everyone else a lot of money, you're making a lot of people very, very happy, but you've not done it for yourself. And I had to start thinking very seriously, because if I don't do it now at this stage of life, it's unlikely it would ever happen. And it's always been an ambition, but I'm afraid that I was always lured by the golden handcuffs, and it's not because I was risk adverse per se, but it was just very, very lucrative to stay where I was. But there's an old cliche that there's only, one way to coast, and it's downhill. Not that I ever coasted, but I didn't want to be that guy. So it was time for me to go ahead and be able to step outside of the roles that people envision me in, to basically be in the role that I know that I was meant to be in my whole life.
And you forgot to mention one very important factor is that you, as I am, are what you call a super connector. What do you get out of being a connector? What's it to you to connect other people?
You'll find out quickly I'm the king of cliches. It's what you expect and do not receive that hurts you. I'll say again, it's what you expect and do not receive. I have always given to others and have never, ever expected anything back in return. And that I think is a really, really important thing to recognize, because there's so many people now that I'm on the supplier side and not on the franchisor side, that they see you coming, and it's like, they put the cross up because they see us kind of being like a vampire, because it's all about them and all about, how much you can extract out of their wallets. I'm not that guy. I don't believe in that. And I do believe if you cast your bread upon the waters, it will come back tenfold. And in my life, I've been blessed as a result.
I agree. I give without expectation. And then sometimes, I'm not going to lie, because I'm human, I look and I'm like, man, I really hooked them up. And sometimes they don't reciprocate to me directly, but it comes from a different direction. And what I know for sure is if more people had the philosophy to help more people, then people wouldn't struggle so much. Would you agree?
I completely agree. It's really, you have to almost approach it with the mindset that you're building long-term relationships. And I do believe that this is a marathon and not a sprint. And I tell many franchise suppliers, don't think that you're going to show up and spend a lot of money over a course of a year and then pull back because you say you're not getting an ROI. If you're in it, you're in it. And you have to at least allow yourself as much as 3 years, because people won't believe you and you will not have credibility if you just, show up one day like an uncle you only see at Christmas time and then you don't see him again for the rest of the year.
That has been true for me in the franchise space. I remember meeting people the first year I went to the IFA conference, and they had a nice to meet you, we'll see if you're here next year posture.
Yes.
They don't say it like that, but I could feel it. And so now that I've gone to 3 IFA conferences and I continue to show up all these other franchise conferences, they now see that I'm serious about who I am, what I do, and being able to, help along the way. So it's a long game, but it's the game that pays off. So Keith, tell us about Gerson Advisory Services. Like, who's your ideal client? What do you help them with? And be as specific as possible, because somebody watching may want you.
Yes. And I want to point out one thing, though, about you, Toni. I have been a mentor my entire career. I've been a coach. I've been a leader my whole career. But, I have not necessarily always taken the steps of making sure that, just like the greatest actors on this planet and the greatest musicians, they all have coaches. And I had to realize and humble myself enough to say that the only thing I know for sure is that I don't. And I know things, believe me, after 50 years and a concentration in franchising, I know things. But there are so many things, including the fact that sometimes I have the inability to be able to clearly and effectively communicate who I am and what I do. Those that know me and see me over the years, they can kind of figure it out on their own. But if I'm meeting somebody for the first time, you know, not so much so. So I just wanted to say that it's so important for people to have coaches and somebody that they can rely on who's outside of the fray and can just see you in objective lights in a way that you can't. So I'm sure that the way that I answer this now will change in the next weeks as we continue to work together, because I'm already seeing so much value from us being together here.
Thank
And
you.
this
I
is,
appreciate
this is
that.
not a sign of weakness. This is a sign of strength when you can bend your knee and recognize that we all benefit from having coaches. So back to the question. Would you restate the question again?
In your
Who am I?
so specifically, who do you serve and how do you help them?
Yes, I serve franchisors. And the way that I help them is that I bring in that objective perspective. I bring in a world of expertise that has been born from being a franchisor and a franchisee and a supplier. And people pay now because of my gray hair. You know, I am anything but obsolete. I've never been more in demand than I am at this moment in time. And there are different ways that I help people. It's situational. It's not like I have a tool, you know, that it's one size fits all. It's very, very situational and unique to the people that I'm working with based on what's keeping them up at night and what their pain points are. So I have to do a lot of effective listening, because you can already tell I tend to be a talker and a storyteller. So I have to remind myself 2 ears, 1 mouth, make sure that I'm not the doctor who you see. I'm just full of metaphors and cliches. I'm not the doctor who shows up who just automatically prescribes, you know, a drug without ever having even taken your vitals. So that's what I do. I step in. It's not because I say so. It is because it is so, because I am a very data-driven individual who does have the talent of taking abstract concepts and making them very, very palatable for those people that I work with. And so it's the data and it's my ability to turn them into actionable insights.
Love that.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to keep talking. And then I'm going to ask you the 2 questions I ask everyone. We'll be right back with Keith Gerson. So we're back with my special guest, Mr. Keith Gerson, a man of many cliches and metaphors, which I'll be borrowing some of those from you. But Keith really prefers to work with franchisors to help them to get their businesses on track, take the blinders off, and see what they can't see so they can accelerate their business. How you like that?
Good job. I'm glad you're recording this.
Awesome. So you heard my monologue, my opening monologue about being referable. In your experience, and you've got a lot of it, what makes a business owner referable? And I'm going to ask this in the context of a franchisee referring someone to become a franchisee of a brand.
So there's a few that come to mind. One is trust and credibility, and that may be the most important of all. in terms of the reputation that you've amassed, and the doors and opportunities that you've created for others. And franchising is a very, very small, universe. It's one in which so many people in franchising know one another. And when they show up, they're showing up and they're willing to share what they have learned with others without any fear of, you being a competitor to them at some point in time or anything else. So I think that trust and credibility is very, very important. I think that it's important to basically have a legacy, in which you can talk about and share how you've helped others, because at the end of the day, people don't know or care how much you know until they know how much you care. I think that's cliche 15, and we haven't even been together all that long. I think cross-industry insights, I think, is very, very important. That they know that they're speaking with somebody who is just not drunk on drinking the Kool-Aid,
Right.
but that they can actually speak because they've been there, they've done that, they've heard enough, they've seen those Google reviews, whatever it might be. And by the way, I'm a huge believer in social proof, and people will be able to find you online and see proof of that credibility. And maybe it's not yours per se, but maybe it's just, even the brand that you're working for. So people know, because this is very important in franchising right now, that the words responsible franchising.
Yeah.
And that and franchising just reflects the people that are within that business. It's we who have to be responsible. So so again, building relationships. I think having been an industry influencer of sorts. So a lot of my credibility is people feel like they know me because I'm consistent in showing up and offering thought leadership, no charge. I just want you to come and I want you to be better. And that makes people, that type of thing, more referable because they see in it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Excellent. Well, I'm going to ask you the first question I ask all my guests, and that is, how has networking changed the game for you? Like, how's it helped your business, helped your life?
For many, many businesses, I think it's important to do cross-channel promotion, if you will. However, I have come to the conclusion after many, many years of doing this is that marketing only gets you this far. But what gets you the distance is showing up. What gets you out there is that people can trust that you're going to be where you are, be where you say you're going to be at the time that you say you're going to be there. So I think that that's just so very important, and that's what makes me referable personally, is that people have come to see that I'm very, very consistent in the way that I conduct myself. I'm very professional. I've got no problem with people that drink at all. But I always find myself that even though it's important to be out there, there's certain places that I don't think that it's great to necessarily be out there if I'm not fully in charge of my own faculties. I've seen many people burn their careers and burn their businesses because they were having a little bit too much of fun when they were out there. So really important to be very consistent and operate in a very professional manner all the time. That doesn't mean lose your authenticity. You and I know, both have that in common. We're our own thing. We don't try to be like anybody else. And that's all I'm going to be, is a first-rate Keith, not a second-rate somebody else. So,
love that. Excellent. My second question is, what's the biggest drastic step? And this is huge because you've got a lot of experience and time, but what's the biggest drastic step you've ever taken in life or business or business?
Can I do, since it's or, I'll give you two.
Okay, I'll take two.
One was, and this was pretty drastic, and I think my parents at the time were probably pretty upset about it. My girlfriend way back in the day, and I were going out and together. I was 17 years of age, and I just knew when I knew. I think I've got a pretty good sniffer, and so one of the most drastic steps I ever took was getting married at 18 years of age. But however, I won't share the number, but let's just say it might be as many years as I've been franchising that she and I have celebrated our life together and marriage. And
Oh,
so many would say that was a pretty drastic step, and
that
most
was pretty drastic.
divorce is one thing, but divorce rates, I'm sure if you did a study of people that get married in their teens, is probably not very good. So that was
Yeah.
one drastic change. But I would say that another drastic change, time to do two.
Yep.
One of them was resigning from a company that I worked with who I didn't feel like my values were in alignment with their values, or lack thereof, in my opinion. So I jumped out of an incredible, successful field in which I was getting paid a lot of money, but it didn't matter.
Mm,
They paid me $2 million and it wouldn't have made a difference. And that ended up being one of the best decisions I ever made, because people also kind of judge you by the company you keep.
that's
And that
right.
applies to the brands that you're working for as well. But then the other drastic one was, once again, leaving a position that I absolutely adored as president of franchise operations for Frank Connect. I adored
Mm,
the other position, but I knew that I was meant and had another calling. And so after being with that company for 12 years, I took the opportunity to say, now it's time. Now, I'm
wow.
thrilled to tell you it was a phenomenal choice that I made, because they adored me enough to go ahead and become my first client once I made that change, in addition to all the other clients I've been able to.
It doesn't get any better than that.
Yes, yes.
You are resigning, and they're like, nope, nope, nope. Let's just go on up. We'll follow you to the other side. I love that. That says a lot about you, Keith, and your character and how you are adored. And it's important. And I'm just so glad to have you in my life at
Thank you.
this time of my life. And we're going to do some big things together. So tell everybody how to get in touch with you.
Yes. Well, my website is gersonadvisoryservices.com. But as you'll see on the banner that's scrolling across here, my email address is keith@gersonadvisory.com, or feel free to call me on my cell phone, 954-815-5228. I'm always praised for being the guy that answers his phone. I don't just let it go into voicemail. So I hope to hear from anybody who feels like they might be able to benefit from my services, capabilities, or even, for that matter, introductions, because I do take pride in being a super connector.
Love it, love it, love it. Well, you've already blessed my life, and it's only been a short period of time. Look out, y'all. Right? The dynamic duo. I told Keith when he hired me as his coach, I'm like, now don't hire me if you don't want me to be your little sister. And he 2 sessions later said, I feel like you're my little sister. I warned you. We
It
become
happens.
family. Thank you so much. And just look for us to do big things. We'll be right back after this message.
Thank you, Toni, and thanks to your audience.
Wasn't that a fantastic conversation, Mr. Keith Gerson? You never know who people know So Marina knew Keith. You never know who they will connect you to. So you have to show up as referable. And when you do, people will open doors for you that you didn't even know existed. So I hope you got inspired. If you're not getting the referrals that you know you deserve, you should get, check how you show up and fix it. And then attach yourself to a super connector like me and Keith and watch your business grow. If you want to pick up the book, showuptoblowup.com. That will take you directly to the Amazon page, showuptoblowup.com. If you want to schedule an appointment with me, go to meetwithtoniharristaylor.com. I am so grateful that you continue to watch the show. Share the show. Share it with your network. Let them know who I am. And I look forward to maybe connecting with them in the future. This is Toni Harris Taylor saying take a drastic step today for a fantastic tomorrow. And we'll see you next week. Bye.